Yes, guys, thanks for joining us. This is Eat, Play, Fight. I'm Andrew Whitelaw, and today I'm joined by one of my great friends, five-time Muay Thai world champion Amir Naseri. We're in beautiful Kuala Lumpur at the Bottega Mediterranea, and today we're going to be enjoying some of the finest Italian cuisine this great Malaysian capital has to offer. Let's go. Yes, mate, we're in one of our favorite places, Bottega. The important stuff out of the way first. What are we ordering?
Man, I know this menu by heart. I already know what I want. I'm having my favorite sandwich. What's it called? The Prisia, I think. It's the andouille, the spicy salami. It's amazing, man. I love it. What else should we have?
Yeah, they have pizzas, they have pastas, they have an incredible meat selection. So we're going to have a meat and cheese board. We're going to have the bolognese. Yeah. The bolognese, I have to say, is perhaps the best bolognese I've ever had. I know your story. I'm a big fan of this guy. That's why he's here. But just so you guys know a little bit more, let's start at the beginning. How does a guy from Iran end up in KL, end up becoming a five-time Muay Thai world champion? It's not your average lifestyle. So how did this happen to you?
Okay, so first of all, how I ended up coming here. So I was born in Tehran, in Iran, and when I was about 7 years old, my family decided to move to Malaysia. It was a little bit hard to adjust because, you know, I didn't speak English and like huge change at that age, especially. After a while, I kind of settled in, went to an international school, met a lot of people from all around the world. It's huge. I think it really shaped me as a person. Oh yes, that was quick. And yeah, perfect. All that exposure and diversity, like, really, I think, shaped me as a person and made me who I am today. But then, back then, when I was a little kid, I used to get into a lot of fights. I don't know, I just, like, really enjoyed fighting as a kid, and that wasn't a great thing. But to be honest with you, when I started Muay Thai, I was like, you know, I started because I used to fight so much, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna learn how to fight, and at the same time, I'm gonna lose some weight, because I was starting to get really fat. I used to eat a lot of shit food, like McDonald's all day, every day, and like shitty fast food. So I was 13 years old, and so yeah, that's when I started doing it. And as soon as I did it, I think all that energy, I just like channeled it into the training, and like never really got into trouble after that. My parents didn't really want me to do it. Like, they wanted me to exercise, but they thought, like, you know, they didn't know much about it, and they were like, oh, it's fighting, you know, you shouldn't do it. So like, they didn't really support it. So I had to like jump on the bus and go to the gym myself, sort out my own transport going home. I didn't ask for money. So I just loved it, man. I kept doing it, but like, I never thought this is gonna become a career, right?
Well, that's the thing. How do you go from loving it and, you know, it having a really positive effect on you to ending up in Thailand and realizing, oh, I'm pretty good at this, I have an affinity for this, to getting to that elite level, which 99.9% of people, let alone professionals, they don't ever taste that, let alone foreigners as well. Thais is one thing. Foreigners becoming world champions is something special, and stadium champions as well. This is a rare thing. So how do you get from that to that?
Honestly, I think just passion and love, man. Really enjoy fucking training, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, honestly, I never thought this would be a career. Like, after training, you know, my coach was like, do you want to fight? And I was like, no, are you crazy? Like, after a while, the idea started to grow in my head, and I'm like, yeah, maybe I want to do it. I'll do it once, I'll do it twice, and then like just one after the other. I'm like, oh, I'm loving it more, I'm learning more. Oh shit, I've got so much to learn. Like, it's just like once you start the journey, you can't stop, right? Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you.
All right, yes, the food arrived. It looks muy especial. That's Spanish. I don't know what it is in Italian, but it's all good. I'm interested to know how you ended up in Thailand, because Amir is a Tiger Muay Thai fighter, and Tiger Muay Thai, you might well have heard about. It's one of the most famous gyms in the world, certainly in Asia, and they have 3 UFC champions affiliated. I mean, Israel Adesanya trains there a little bit, trains in New Zealand. Valentina Shevchenko, Alexander Volkanovski. You train regularly with UFC fighters, one championship fighters. Interesting, the MMA connection, because, you know, I'm sure you get asked about MMA a lot. How did you end up in Thailand? I think we'll start there. How did you end up at Tiger?
So what made me go to Thailand was my first defeat, actually. I think I had about like maybe 8 or 9 fights. I started fighting in like the border between Thailand and Malaysia, and then and I was doing quite all right. I started winning all my fights, and then once I think it was my 8th or 9th fight, I faced a Thai opponent who, I would say he was my first like legit Thai opponent, who had like maybe a couple hundred fights, and he just outclassed me, man. That's when I kind of decided, and I booked my first trip to Thailand. I tried a couple different gyms initially, and then I finally went to Phuket. I think it was about 2013, 14. And so I went to Tiger Muay Thai, and they offered me a contract, and yeah, I signed with them. I started training, I fought, and I was super happy with my camp, and I was like, this is the gym, man. Like, I knew right away. I was like, this is where I want to be. This is where I'm gonna improve. Like, I think I knew it right away, and like ever since I've been there, man.
What's that like day in, day out? You're surrounded by UFC fighters, one championship, rising, Lumpini champions, Rajadamnern champions. Like, that must be unreal, the level there. Just killers like the Dagestanis who are there as well. I mean, I know those guys are famed for their wrestling, but even in striking, there's just Rafael Fiziev, people like that.
The diversity you get at our gym is great, man. And not just the fighting. A lot of people think like Tiger Muay Thai is great for Muay Thai and MMA, which I think we are. It's great. But the fitness classes, man, the conditioning classes, the conditioning coaches, like everyone who trains there, the atmosphere, the vibe is just amazing. And not just the fighters, our guests, and everybody else who's there. You've got people from all walks of life, people who are like losing shitloads of weight. You can never like get demotivated there, You're always like grinding, everyone's helping each other. So like, if you've not been there, you won't know like until you experience it firsthand. So like, if you get a chance to train in Thailand, definitely do it.
We all know what it's like for rock stars, right? But I've always been interested, what is it like for you after you win and the way people treat you? And like, is there such a thing as like Muay Thai groupies? Do you get like women throwing themselves at you because you're a champion? Is that a thing? Like, do you kind of walking on air that you're, especially in the wake of a victory? We all know people treat you differently when you lose, right? What's that like? What is it?
Yeah, it's a bit strange, like when you're winning fights and like you're there banging it and like, making a name for yourself. Actually, a lot of people who were not close to you before or whatever, all of a sudden so nice and this and that. But it also works the other way around. If you don't fight for a while and lay low and like, people forget about you. People are like, oh yeah, whatever, like, but then as soon as you come back and have another fight and like, just remind people like who you are and like why you do this, and everyone's like, oh. But not everybody, I guess, but it is kind of true. Like, honestly, I think when you don't fight for a while, people start to kind of forget you in this thing, and like, I think it's a bit unfair sometimes. But like, I guess, legends will forever live. So like,
yeah, legacy is an amazing thing when you've achieved already what you've achieved. I'm interested to know, because I met you really when you were out of camp and when you were able to enjoy life a bit more. We're here having a delicious meal. You're here by virtue of COVID, right? What on earth happened? This completely derailed your career in a way, like it's happened to so many of us. I had a travel show and then COVID hit.
It messed up everybody's plan,
so what's
man.
happening and what happened there?
Yeah, so basically...
Let me give you some bolognese also while we talk
thanks,
about this.
man.
Yeah.
I think we were on the roll, to be honest. Like, so in 2019, right before COVID strike, fought in Australia, fought in Thailand. I did the 4-man tournament in Thai fight. I got the Omnoi title. So we were on the roll, and then I won the King's Cup on Thai fight. I had no break. Like, it was back to back. As soon as I finished one camp, boom, on to the next fight. Again, win, next fight, camp, fight. Oh, it was just like back to back, man. And then I was like, honestly, like, I need a short break, man. I've been in camp for 6-7 months. I feel like my body needs some time to just like heal and recover. And so I decided to come back home KL for me, to visit my family. I got my family here, so I came to visit them for like a short vacation, and like 1 year later, I'm still here. I haven't fought for like a year now. But yeah, it was kind of shit because I couldn't go back. I had to defend my title, my Omnoi title, and I couldn't go back, and so they had to put it up for grabs. And like, I think Saksan, I'm looking forward to like going back and fighting these legends and like showing these people like, who that belt really belongs to. I didn't get to defend it when they took it away from me, so like, So yeah, I'm just like looking forward to go back and like fight these guys and like knock them out and like take my belts, man.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that. We're gonna have to follow up with you when in Thailand for a special episode when that happens. Firstly, dude, I gotta ask you, how good is this bolognese? Was I lying? Like best bolognese ever? You got meatballs.
That's why I come here all the time. As soon as I come in, they kind of know what I'm gonna order.
Dude, it's another level. So good.
So amazing.
This is what you need to order when you come here. Pretty much.
But to be honest, everything else is great too. Like,
yeah, the sandwich is your go-to, right?
yeah, the bikini. Oh man, that one's good too. That's a sandwich, by the way.
This is really good for sharing. What, for you, how do you keep that balance? Because we've been able to have fun, we've been able to enjoy great food, we've been able to have a beer.
Yeah.
Because in high school, I remember what it was like for me, especially in KL. You know, everybody wanted to go to Zouk all the time and all that kind of thing. And certainly I enjoy my burgers and my pizzas, and I'm no, not professional athlete. How do you balance that discipline of saying no sometimes, but also trying to enjoy a normal life? How do you do that?
So I think like anything in life, you need balance, right? Balance is what keeps things going. So through my career, like, the whole experience of being an athlete and being at the gym all the time, I saw a lot of guys who came, trained, fought, whatever, left. And I think one thing I learned from them was that those who were always living on the extreme end didn't really have a long career. I would have people who come and do like crazy diets and like get in the best shape possible and then fight and then disappear and then like, never come back. You know what you gotta do, man. You just need to train, you need to eat, you need to sleep. Like, it's very simple, but it's whether you do it or not, right? I have had horrible weight cuts when I first started my career. I didn't know. I was learning from my body and like from others, and like you experiment and like, so it's about understanding and learning the lifestyle and your body and how you could like, find that line and not cross it, right? And find the balance in between things. So for me, that's the most important thing.
What is your number one food, do you reckon, after a weigh-in? What is your go-to?
So like I like to load on carbs for the first few hours after my weigh-ins.
Yeah.
Don't like to do meat because I just find that when I'm eating carbs, like it just like my body absorbs it better, digests it better. So like for the first couple of hours, I try not to, like it's hard, you're hungry, right? You want to just eat whatever you can, but then you kind of have to like watch out because like you haven't eaten for a bit, and like if you just like chug whatever, you're gonna like it's gonna hurt. So it's important, and also like depends on the weight cut. So sometimes you dropping a lot of weight, sometimes you're not. Sometimes you gotta fight on the same day, like when you fight in stadiums, right? Like in Omno, you go to the weigh-in at like, I don't know, 5 a.m. and like you fight by noon. So it's like, yeah, you don't really have much time. So you want to eat something that you would digest and like feel good.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, next up, it would be remiss of me if I didn't send the camera over to the superstar that is the owner and manager of this incredible place, Riccardo. When it comes to food, he is the Amir Naseri of Muay Thai. Riccardo is like that when it comes to Italian cuisine. He's going to tell us a little bit more about what we've been eating today and what makes this place so special. Over you go.
Hey guys. Well, the main things that make this place special is the charcuterie that you can see it over here. All the ham and cheese and the salami, they are imported from Italy and France and Spain. And that's the real difference that makes. We choosing and we sourcing all the producer that we want to bring in here. And they all started like about 6-7 years ago when I opened this little shop that I want to educate the people. I want to educate the local people that they never try soft cheese, hard cheese, different type of salami. What's the cured meat? They have no clue. They just think it is a piece of leg of ham, but it's not to cook, it's just to slice and eat it raw. So that's all how I started Bottega Mediterranea back in the daily in 2014. The importing part started early in 2011, 3 years earlier. And then slowly and organically we built up the shop, and slowly, you know, by word of mouth, we just brought it up the business and the whole scenario of delivering to Malaysian those beautiful products that comes out from the whole continent, Europe. We basically want to portray the real authenticity of Italian food in Malaysia. While Andy and Amir, they having their lovely meal, let me show you how we do it, the bolognese. Basically here I have the sauce with tomato, red wine, celery, carrots, onion. We don't put any salt, just pepper, because the meat, all the charcuterie, the ham and the salami, they already have sodium and salt when they cure it, so we don't put adding any salt into it. The water boiling here, the pasta, here we're using sedani, which they're a little like kind of rigatoni, small pipe, like a type of pan that we like. No one has it in KL, so we import it especially for our customer. I have the hot boiling water. I'm gonna add a bit of salt, sea salt, into the water, because the pasta, we want the pasta to be crunchy. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cook the pasta only 5 minutes into the water, and then I'm gonna add it and finish it to cook. That's how we do it in Bottega. The reason why you want to do that is because you want the starch, the thicken in the sauce, and then you want the sauce to get absorbed by the pasta in fully. So when you bite, every single piece of the pasta is very moist and they got all the flavor of the pasta. That's the reason. I'm gonna add a bit of extra virgin olive oil here on the sauce. This is from Puglia. All this stuff we imported directly. This one is Spanish, this is Italian from Puglia, this one is from Spain. We have some Parmigiano Reggiano. We have some butter to finish. The sauce, I'm gonna start to light it up and keep it in low fire, always low fire. The pasta, I put down 80 grams. Then basically when the sauce start to boiling, I'm gonna take the pasta, put it into the sauce. And in our bolognese, we put some green peas just to adding a bit of extra flavor, to give it a twist and just not like keep it classic. I'm gonna saute it with a bit of butter and add it up at the end. Crack a bit of pepper, extra virgin olive oil, and that's it. And the liquid is steaming out. As you see, it's cooking, and you need to stir it and monitor it, right? And from time to time, when you see that it's getting dry, about 100 and 120 grams of sauce for 80 to 100 grams of pasta. When it's getting drier at this point, what I do, I take a little bit more of pasta or the water from before, and I just add on. You just keep on adding on until the pasta is cooked. And when the pasta is cooked, you just take it a piece and put it in your mouth, or the color of the pasta will change a lighter yellow, which means it's a sign that the pasta is ready. The piece, you see how they are? You know, like just keep it nice and crispy. As you can see, it becomes already nice and moist and it's ready to go. I already add on the green peas that we cooked separately early with a bit of butter and extra virgin olive oil. I'm gonna turn off the fire now. A tiny bit of butter, a bit of Parmigiano Reggiano, just like a spoon, as you can see. Cracking a bit of pepper to make it nice and interesting and a bit pungent. And then I give a nice toast, you know, like whoppa. I'm gonna whip it. It's called al salto. Saltare la pasta and whip. Hop. Look how juicy is that. And voila. This one, put it here. A little bit more of pepper, papam, because I like to alkaline. Parmesan cheese, Parmigiano Reggiano always at the end, or you can put it or you don't. And extra virgin olive oil. And there we go. Andy, I'm gonna love it.
So beautiful.
Yes, guys, thank you so much for joining us for this edition of Eat, Play, Fight with the main man, Amir, one of the greatest strikers on the planet, as well as Riccardo, one of the greatest men to ever speak about food on the planet, in my opinion. Also, keep an eye out, of course, for more Eat, Play, Fight coming your way. COVID permitting, we're going to be traveling around the globe once more. We will be on television. We are on digital. Follow, subscribe, and all the good stuff. Until then, see you later. It's been a pleasure. Since we shot this episode, Amir signed with One Championship, and on August 27th at 1 on Prime Video 1 on Saturday morning in the Asian time zone, he faces arguably the toughest test of his career so far when he takes on former one flyweight world champion Jonathan Haggerty. Catch that one live on Amazon Prime.